Thank you. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see you. I'm pleased to get to do another class, the muscle testing class. This has been something I have taught for 24 years now. And every time I teach it, I learn something new. It's great joy and fun for me, so I hope that you also will enjoy it and learn something from it. What we're going to be doing is first learning a little bit about muscle testing, and then you will be seeing some demonstrations of it, and then you will learn how to briefly muscle test each other, and then you will learn how to muscle test yourself. And I'll be giving you suggestions along the way for you to be able to learn how to do it and to feel more and more comfortable with it. How many of you already know how to do some type of muscle testing or dowsing? Good. It has spread quite a lot. When I first learned about muscle testing, it was back when I was pre-chiropractic. I had not gone to chiropractic school, graduate school. I was just out of college trying to figure out what it was I wanted to do with my life. And I was calling up various practitioners to see what they did. I was a dancer, and I knew I wanted to do something that helped dancers, was what I thought. I wanted to help dancers be able to recover faster, or athletes. And so somebody suggested that I talk with a chiropractor. And I grew up in Ohio, and in Ohio at that time, chiropractors were, it wasn't really well looked upon. So I was not so sure I wanted to go and talk to a chiropractor, but I thought, why not do that? So I made 5 phone calls. I was living in North Carolina at the time. I made 5 phone calls, and one of them said, sure, come on over. How about next Tuesday? I'll spend my 2-hour lunch break with you. So I went over and talked with this guy and was totally amazed at how he thrived on his practice. He loved what he was doing. And he wasn't just doing normal chiropractic, he was using something called applied kinesiology. That was my first introduction to what that was. Now, applied kinesiology is, in a way, the founding source of muscle testing. It was founded by George Goodhart, a chiropractor, Dr. George Goodhart, and he found that by working with the body's electrical system, its energy systems, that he could find out what was working or was not working in the body. In that handout that I gave you, it's about halfway down that you see George Goodhart's name. So this was in the 1960s that his practice of applied kinesiology became pretty strong. And he started training many, many chiropractic friends of his, and then started having students, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and it expanded out from there. One of his students was already a chiropractor and became the developer of something called Touch for Health. And that is a shorter, sweeter version of applied kinesiology for people who are not officially practitioners, chiropractors, other people like that. And so it's for laypersons. And Touch for Health became very popular. Currently, it is all around the world. There are international Touch for Health associations in almost every country, in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, and all kinds of places. Same thing with the International College of Applied Kinesiology. It has spread all over the world. And offshoots came out of both of those. So now, 40 years later, whatever it has been, there are many, 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 many different types of kinesiologies or practices that use what's called muscle testing in them. And they all are a wide range of what's the background that you have to have in order to be qualified to become a practitioner of all that. So when I met this one chiropractor who was a student of George Goodhart's, his name was Dr. Walter Schmidt, and he was so excited about the work that he did, and he just kept talking and talking and showing me things, and he was just so excited about it that I thought that would be something that would be really cool to do. So he said, by the way, his neighbor is also a chiropractor and was just about to want a receptionist, that he had been in practice for a year, and his practice had come along well enough that he now was ready to hire somebody to be a front desk receptionist for him. He said, why don't you go over and talk to Steve? So that was Dr. Steve Tolan. So I went next door, talked to Steve, and we hit it off immediately, and he said, sure, you want to come work for me? That would be great. So I began working as a front desk receptionist in a chiropractic office, and also helped out in the practice rooms in any way that he needed, and was just overwhelmed with the excitement of what one could do for a person's health with the tools of applied kinesiology. So I then started taking the classes. I started taking my prerequisites in order to go to chiropractic college, graduate school. And for 2 years, I worked for Steve and got my background prerequisites. Well, when I got to chiropractic school, I found out that, oh no, we don't teach applied kinesiology here. In fact, it's not officially something that we allow you to practice in the clinics, because that's not medical enough. You know, it was a chiropractic school, it was a wonderful school, but they were really trying to make sure that they made the grade and could be putting out excellent primary healthcare physicians, and they thought applied kinesiology was a little bit too not yet in the realm of what they wanted. So I had to study that on the side in addition to everything we were already studying. But it was still great fun, and I learned a lot. Then I wanted to learn how to use it more for my clients. And instead of doing all the detailed information that applied kinesiology requires and utilizes, I thought it made more sense to be able to talk to the bodies. So in applied kinesiology, you don't verbalize anything, you're just doing tests, arm tests, muscle tests, leg tests, strengthening, weakening, seeing what balances it out, whether it's the meridians, whether it's nutrition, whether it's a neurolymphatic point, whether it's a neurovascular point, many, many different things that they use to correct these. Cranial faults, all kinds of things. So I thought it seemed like it would involve the client more, patients as we were told to call them. It would involve the patient more if I could verbalize the questions to their bodies and get the information back from their bodies directly. So pretty quickly I stopped using official applied kinesiology and just began doing a yes-no muscle test and asking questions and getting answers from the bodies. And I started to learn all kinds of things even more in addition to what that I had already been exposed to with the applied kinesiology. I was fascinated with it. I used it all the time on myself because I couldn't wait to have somebody else be there to muscle test me, so I developed my own ways of muscle testing myself so that I could talk to my own body, talk to my own energy field, whatever it was that I needed to find out about, I would get that information. And so then when I moved to Vermont in 1988, I started teaching classes immediately with Dr. Linda Balamuth, who is now Dr. Linda Haltener, over at Sojourns, but she wasn't then. So Linda and I started teaching classes together in helping other people to learn how to muscle test themselves and to learn how to connect and communicate with their own bodies and their own energy fields by themselves. What it ended up doing was creating an entire group of clients who were much more self-sufficient and were much more responsible for their own health care. And that made our jobs a whole lot easier, because instead of them coming in and saying, here I am, fix me, they were just coming in and saying, okay, I've been working on this, this, and that, but it's not working so well. Can you help address this particular aspect of it? Or I had a little confusion on this area. Would you help me get a little deeper in digging into that information? And it was great because they healed so much quicker and they were really alert and aware and cared about their own health care. So I was totally a fan of muscle testing and teaching other people to muscle test. Fast forward, here we are, 24 years later. I'm still doing it and getting to the point now where hopefully I can put this video online or on my website or on the local cable station, various places, so that more people can learn about it. In the big picture, I looked up International College of Applied Kinesiology, and I looked up the Touch for Health International, and looked up other forms of muscle testing. It's incredible how in those last 40 years this has spread to the entire world and to all areas of life. John Diamond, back in the early days, John Diamond, you have some of the background there, had created behavioral kinesiology. He was a psychiatrist, a medical doctor, and he started using it in his counseling practice to help people identify where were they not aware of issues and how could they change those issues easier and let go of those old patterns easier. There was, in the educational front, there was educational kinesiology and something called brain gym that was helpful for kids with learning disabilities and dyslexia. And out of those, there have been many, many, many offshoots still. So you've probably heard of recently Donna Eden in the last 10 years or so. Donna Eden has created energy medicine, which uses many of the offshoots of those. There was a book called Your Body Can Heal by Carol Levy. Your Body Can Talk, I'm sorry, by Susan Levy and Carol Lair. And that was an excellent book. It's a wonderful book still. You should check it out. There's biokinesiology, there's health kinesiology, there is transformational kinesiology. There are all these things that are just wonderful to check out because they always have simple things that you can learn to help yourself feel more balanced, feel more capable and comfortable with your own health care. As a result of these past 24 years, 27 years of me using muscle testing, I have not gone to a medical doctor that entire time for an illness of any kind. I'm not saying that that's what everybody should do, but it has totally changed my concept of what healthcare is. And for me, healthcare really is our own individual responsibility for us to learn how to take care of the bottom line, and then we go to see other practitioners of whatever variety, including medical, to help us with specific problems that we're not able to deal with. So, long story short, that's the background. I hope that it will help you to feel more comfortable with your own body, understanding your body better, learning to listen to your intuition better, learning to utilize the instincts that are innate in all of us. We all have body wisdom. It's built into every cell of our body, every tissue of our body, every structure of our body. And if we can just learn to listen to that innate wisdom, then we can be much healthier and happier. Excuse me. One of the basics of muscle testing is communication. Just like having a partner, having a relationship with anybody, a teacher, a spouse, a child. The better that we can relate to another person, the more that we can have a good time in our life. In this case, what we're wanting to do is learn how to communicate with our individual unique bodies and to be able to have an ongoing dialogue with that. And having an ongoing dialogue with the body is about being sincerely interested in communicating with it. It's really about caring about your body, wanting to know what it has to tell you, wanting to help it to be able to do what it is that it wants to do. So it's about sincere communication. And in these muscle tests, if you are really wanting to learn, you will. As you are learning how to muscle test, you'll find that there are certain topics that possibly make you get a little bit antsy. I'm not really sure I want to know the answer to that one. Don't talk about it yet. Don't discuss it yet. Shelf that until you are ready to discuss it and be able to deal with whatever the emotions are that come up and clear those emotions so that you can have that sincere communication with your body. Okay? So let's see. Bodies know how to do everything. Like I said, there's this innate body wisdom. They know how to digest food. They know which foods they like and which they don't like. They know how to heal cuts and wounds. They know how to heal imbalances within the body. They know how to sleep. They know how to rest. They know how to be energetic and to be athletic. They know how to live a healthy life. They know how to give birth. They know how to die an easy death. They know all these things. And what has gotten in our way as a culture is that we have learned to separate from our bodies, either by being literally out and away from our body, or by kind of putting a guard here and down there is just something that we don't want to know about. It's all up here that we live. So again, part of this process is relearning how to reclaim your entire body. Your head, your neck, your chest, your abdomen, your pelvis, your legs, your arms. That's your body. the whole of you, and it's designed to be a whole, and you really do need to recreate that whole and then start tuning into it. So we'll do some of that as well. While doing this, you will find that there are patterns that you will need to change, that habits of when you get up, when you go to bed might need to be changed. Which foods you eat, which drinks you drink might need to be changed. And just do it all as an experiment. I had a wonderful time in these past 25 years just experimenting with my body and exploring what it was that it really wanted. If I got an idea of something that it wanted, I'd give it a try. Sometimes it would last, sometimes it wouldn't. It would depend on how deeply ingrained my old habits and patterns were, or how well I had listened and whether I had really gotten the correct information from the body. So just explore it. Think of yourself as being your own scientist. This doesn't have to be a double-blind study. This doesn't have to be done by a medical or a pharmaceutical corporation. This can be done by you on your own with a notebook, where you listen to what it is that your body has to say, you write it down, and somewhere along the way you begin to apply those various things. And then you notice, how do I feel? What makes a difference? Did it help that I decreased this something that I was drinking? Did it help that I got more exercise and fresh air? Pay attention to how you feel, and then you learn, and your body can communicate more information for you. All right. So that's the basics. We're going to do just a little bit of a talk about indicator muscles, and then we might need to take a little break before we go into the next area, which will have the demonstrations involved. So indicator muscles are how you work with muscle testing. Now, muscle testing is just like any form of asking a question. You want to be able to have a yes or a no. So whether you are dowsing, or whether with a pendulum, or whether you're dowsing with a stick, or whether you are using a muscle test, you just want to find a yes or a no response. Before you get to a yes or a no, you have to make sure that you have an intact muscle. An intact muscle meaning one that works. So I will be doing some with the arm out, I'll be doing some with my fingers, I will be doing some with my fingers this way, I'll be doing some with an arm that way. I'll be showing you many different ways of muscle testing. What you want to do is make sure that you have a muscle that is locked, meaning that it is strong. So if I'm pushing down on somebody's arm or my arm, there is an intact muscle. My other arm can't push it down. Okay? If you have a shoulder injury, you don't want to be doing that because it's going to strain your arm to try to hold that. If you have hand injuries and carpal tunnel syndrome, you might not want to be doing the hands because you might not have an intact muscle in there to start with the response. Okay, so you want to be really clear that first you have an intact muscle. And then when you have an intact muscle, then you're going to be seeing what happens when that intact muscle gives you a lock response and an unlock response. Okay? So a lock and an unlock is what we're going to start out with, and then later on we're going to transfer that into calling it a yes or a no. Okay? Okay, so this is going to be the demonstration portion of the show. I would love to have some volunteer to come up and we can show what a lock and an unlock is on a muscle test. Thank you. All right. So just face the crowd if you would and put your arm out to the side. There's many ways that one can muscle test. This is just one that is common. And what I'm going to do in terms of proper positioning, which you will do when you're practicing, is to put one hand on the person's shoulder and the other, you're just going to use two fingers right around their wrist. Now, do you have any shoulder issues?
No.
Okay, good. So you just hold your arm there, and I'm going to push. And that's all I'm going to do, that much pressure. Okay? Relax. It's not about overpowering the person. It is really important that this is just simply a communication. We're asking his muscle to lock, and you'll see it unlock in a few moments. So that's just to see where the stable is. Hold it there, please. Hold. Good. All right, and now just to show you the unlock, I am stroking down the central vessel meridian. And his arm just unlocked. Okay? And that's quite all right. That's what's supposed to happen. I'm going to stroke up the central vessel just to make sure that he's strong. Good. Relax. Central vessel meridian is, in acupuncture, it starts basically at the center of the crotch, and it comes up the front of the body, and it comes up to right here, underneath the lower lip. And the central vessel is one of the major meridians for keeping the body in balance. So it flows from basically the earth up, if you want to think of it in a broader perspective. And so it rises up into our body. There's also one, the governing vessel, that goes up the back of the body, similarly, up the back, over the top of the head, and ends right here. And those both bring energy up into the body, and it's very important for all of our functions. So if he's got a nice strong muscle, a locked muscle, if I flow against that, if I try to reverse that flow, that proper flow, then it weakens his body. His arm just doesn't want to even stay up. And he can resist, he can use other muscles to resist, but that's not the point. We're asking that you not do that so that it can just show us the lock and the unlock. So back to this. Right now he's back to strength, and I didn't even swipe up in the proper direction. The reason for that, thank you, is homeostasis. Homeostasis is the big word for that our bodies know how to balance, how to bring back into balance whatever it is that has thrown us off. And generally speaking, small insults like somebody messing with your meridians can be corrected very quickly. And other things can be corrected for as well. So if there were to be a sudden noise outside, we might startle at first, but then our bodies would adjust to that noise, and pretty soon we would be tuning it out and not even noticing that it's there. So our bodies are able to adjust to a lot of things and to maintain their proper balance of health. I'm just going to throw it one more time. So we're stroking down. You're going to be doing this, so pay attention. I'm not touching his body, but I'm right close to the front of it and stroking opposite. And then his arm just lets go. And homeostasis kicks in, we're usually within about 15 to 30 seconds, that he just comes back to full strength. And his arm is there. But let's just go ahead and swipe him up again. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So that's one demonstration. Could I have a second person come up, please? Hey.
Hi.
Do you have any shoulder problems?
I do.
On this side?
Yep.
On this side?
No.
Okay. Would you hold your arm that way? And a little bit lower. And just hold it right there. Okay. Good. And just to, again, go over it. We're going against the central vessel meridian flow. Okay. So we're going to bring it back up to strength. Okay, good. And now would you take a lock of hair and pull on that? And hold. Good. Okay, excellent. And the reason that I'm going after this lock of hair thing is that it's very common in our society for people to be dehydrated. And by pulling on either a lock of hair or on a piece of skin, like just pulling on the skin on your finger, if a person is cellularly dehydrated, that will take the lock to an unlock. In this case, your muscle stayed strong, so you apparently have sufficient liquids in your cells, so that's very good. So you just be aware that you want to be able to have the lock. Go ahead and hold your hair. Have it remain even while hair is being pulled on or skin is being pulled on. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
Next demonstration. Yeah. Sure, come on up, Kat. Yeah. And I'm going to need a few more, so whoever's willing. So what we're going to test for this time is just something that is just general electrical balances. Just hold your arm out to the side. Do you have any shoulder issues? Okay. And hold your arm. Okay. Okay. And again, we're just going to make sure what's going on, see if there is an unlock, and she can feel that unlock. Yep, quite the unlock. Okay. All right, and we're going to reinforce the proper flow until she comes back to full strength. Good. Okay. And now in this case, I'm going to have to take my hand off of her shoulder, my counterbalance hand, because what I'm going to be doing is just tapping over this general area. So tapping over that general area makes her a little bit weak. And what that is called the 5-finger test. And it's just a test to see how her electricity is flowing in her body. Apparently, it's not quite flowing as well as it should be because one ideally can still do that tapping without it changing the lock to an unlock if it's all balanced. So we're going to check and see a couple things to see whether they might correct this issue. Would you put your hands right there on your collarbone? There you go. And just hold that. Okay, keep holding it there while I tap. Okay, good. So while she is holding what's called K27, go ahead and rub those. While she is holding those points called K27, that's on the kidney meridian, it's just below your collarbone, where your collarbone meets your ribs, your first rib, and where it meets your sternum. So it's right kind of underneath the bone, if you have bony collarbones like I do. It's kind of right underneath that and a little to the side of it. And that is the ending point of the kidney meridian, which comes from the feet, up the insides of the leg, up the body, to here. And K27 is a wonderful place. If ever you are in need of some kind of short-term strengthening, then go ahead and give K27 a rub, a tap. And you'll be checking this on each other when you have that opportunity. A little bit closer, so kind of right there.
Right here.
Yep. Okay, and hold. Good. And let go. Good. And so even just a short-term strengthening of K27 made it so that that 5-finger test did not cause her to go unlocked. Okay? Another thing that we're going to do to show a way to counterbalance any electrical irregularities is testing in the clear again to see that there's a nice lock. Okay, and now if you could tap right here and here, both above and below. There you go.
Keep it.
Yep. And hold. Okay, relax. And now rub a little bit more. So that's the end of the central vessel and the end of the governing vessel that comes up the back of the body, up over the head to there. Okay, good. And let go. Okay. Okay. So what I'm showing you are 3 different clearing techniques that if you are feeling like something's off, your electrical signals aren't right, you're not clear in your mind, you're more emotional than you should be, something's not working in your memory, you're just feeling off for whatever reason, you can do K27 points on yourself. You can do these 2 for the end of the central vessel and the governing vessel. And the third one is to point right where the sacrum and the coccyx meet. So sacrum and the coccyx, right down where the tailbone comes out of the lower point of your triangular sacrum, and rub that place. Now, it would be a little more effective for you to hold your belly button.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can do it either with your whole hand or your fingers in your belly button. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now do those points again. Mm-hmm. And do K27 again while you still have your belly button going. And then go back and do the sacrum coccyx one while you still have your belly button. And what this does is help to balance left and right, front and back, top and bottom of the body, so that your whole nervous system is working on all levels of your being. And again, if you are feeling out of it, you start to do those things, you'll start to feel much more present. Okay, good. And hold. Good. Excellent. Now there's no change at all. Good. Thank you. Okay. Let's have 2 people come up, please, if you would. Okay. Thank you. And if you could just stand on this side for a moment, I'm going to start with her, and then I'll move in with you, and then we'll have you do something together. Okay? So first, you hold your arm out. Do you have any shoulder issues?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, there's a nice in the clear. And you notice that great big rebound up. She just didn't know how much force I was going to use, and so her body was prepared to resist more. That's fine. But as she gets used to my body, she doesn't need to do that to the pressure that I use. And again, we're going to just go down so that she gets a sense of what an unlock is. And there's the arm unlocking. Okay? And bring it back up. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to ask you to hold something in your hand against your belly button. Okay? And we're just going to try a bunch of different things. And I don't know if any of them will make any difference in your lock arm or not, but we're just going to experiment. So just hold this against your belly button. Good thing to have pockets. Okay. Okay, so that one, her arm is moving quite a bit. Remember, take it aside and just hold it out. Okay. Now bring it back. So it's not like she goes completely weak, but there's definitely some change that her body doesn't seem to appreciate that. You can put that down.
Coffee.
Coffee. Even before it's been made and drunk. All right. Try this. Those are all the same container, so okay, that's no problem.
What's that? Stevia.
Okay, her body doesn't seem to like that one.
Sweet and low.
No problem with that.
Sugar?
But it's a brown sugar. Or, what do you call it? Naturally raw. Thank you. Cane sugar. Yep. Okay, body doesn't like this one. Think of the fun you could do while you're at a restaurant.
That's so interesting.
Okay, no problem with that one.
Sugar.
So many people are avoiding sugar these days and drinking the fake sweeteners, and they're just harming their bodies. The real sugar, real white, awful sugar, is better for you than most of the other stuff. And it just depends on the individual person to test which one is right for them. So, okay. That's salt. That's it. That's all I have in my pocket. So, you stay there. Let's see. What did we get reactions with? Okay, would you come on over? And we're going to test you in the clear. Can you scoot over a little bit more? Thank you. And do you have any shoulder problems? Okay. Good. There's a nice lock. We're going to try just to make sure what the unlock is for his body. And we'll do it a little bit more, though there was a difference. Yep. Okay. And bring it back up to strength. And there's no way that my fingers can get that one down. Okay. So you feel the lock and the unlock difference. Let's just check to make sure there's nothing major here. Nope, he's fine. Okay, good. Now, would you come on over here, please? And would the two of you hold hands? Yeah, there you go. It's a good thing you came up together, huh? All right. So, here we go. So you can put that down. That was the stevia that didn't bother her. Okay, so that's the, what is it?
Splenda.
Splenda that does bother her. Well, now it's bothering him. We didn't check to see if it bothers him individually, but just so you know, if you are closely in contact with somebody, whether it's literally holding hands or just sharing an energy field of a bed or of a kitchen table or whatever it is, you are affecting each other in what it is that your body responds to. Try this one. Sorry. Now, he doesn't seem to have a problem with this. It's a little bit wobbly, but it's nothing like her problem with it. So his energy field was able to counteract it a little bit. And this is salt, and they're both fine with that. So why don't you unlock hands, and let's just see. You hold this one and put it against your belly. And it does weaken him as well. Okay? So no Splenda for you. That was Splenda. No Splenda for him. And the sweet and low has some effect, but it's not as much as the Splenda.
But he's doing something bad for her body, to his body, and they are in the same energy field. Like he's taking tons of Splenda.
Uh-huh.
Is it going to affect her body?
Yes. If they are closely in the same energy field, if he is drinking lots of Splenda products and she is not, she will be affected by his negative reaction to Splenda and vice versa.
What's closely?
Yeah, probably you would be able to test on yourselves to see what the distance is where you have a safe space. You know, there might be just literally 2 inches, it might be 6 inches, it might be 3 feet, it might be 6 feet. It depends on how sensitive each of you are individually and how enmeshed your energy fields are. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's have, who would come up? Somebody come up who's got a really good emotional, Susan, can you come up for this? Balance. You're going to be able to handle what we're going to do. Okay, so again, we're just going to test in the clear. Okay, and again, we're going to check for an unlock. Okay, that's an obvious one. Everybody's a little different in how much they respond. Okay, good. So, some of you got green slips of paper. Those of you who got a green slip of paper, would you please send the emotion that's written on the green slip of paper? Imagine that you are directing that at this person. It has nothing to do with you. It's simply for the purposes of this demonstration. Okay? So, are you ready to send that energy field, that emotion? Here we go. Send it. So she was trying to resist it, but her body doesn't want to. Okay? Now put your hands, keep sending it, put your hands on K27 and rub it. Keep sending that emotional response to her. So she can resist it. She can counteract it. What the emotion was, what was it on the green field?
Blame, criticism.
Blame and criticism was just being beamed at her. And it made her muscle unlock. It made her body get thrown off. Oftentimes we get blame and criticism from coworkers, from bosses, from spouses, from children, from parents, from self, from whomever. And it throws off our bodies. If you are feeling like you are off kilter for whatever reason, then please use your K27 points to help strengthen you, or you can do the zip up of the central vessel meridian, anything to help to bring yourself into a stronger balance so that you are not affected by other people that way. Let's just go ahead and do the yellow slip of paper. Whoever got a yellow slip, if you could. Anybody out there? Okay, you ready? So we're going to beam the yellow slip of paper towards her. Okay. She's perfectly fine with that one. What was the yellow slip?
Acceptance and support.
Acceptance and support. Okay, so that was fine. She liked it. She was strong with it. No big deal. Out of curiosity, let's try. The green slips, do your blame and criticism, please. Okay. All right. The yellow slips, do your support and acceptance at the same time as the green slips. Okay, good. Thank you. So at least in this little experiment, people sending the acceptance and support were able to strengthen her body and help her out so that she was not affected by the blame and criticism. Okay? So just be aware that how we interact with each other, thank you, makes a big difference in our emotional well-being as a result of how it affects our electrical well-being, how our bodies are healthy. Think about this last election. Think about who you wanted to win, who you didn't want to win. Where were your thoughts? Were they in criticism and blame? Were they in acceptance and support? You know, on the big picture level, if we have half of the country sending one message, half of the country sending another message, those affect the leaders. And the more that, regardless of who they are, Democrat, Republican, Independent, you name it, the more that we can send acceptance and support to a person at a distance or in the same room as ourselves, the healthier they will be, the more they'll be able to respond to whatever their situations are. Think about your spouses, think about your children. How often do we just, without conscious volition, we kind of go into reaction mode, and the reaction mode often has criticism, blame, something negative about it. That's not helping them, and it's certainly not helping you either. So see what you can do in all of this. This is what I've been learning anyway in my life, is that if those emotions come up of criticism, of blame, of anything negative, see if you can just step back from that, balance yourself, find a place to feel calm, to feel cool and collected about it, and then look at the situation without the reaction mode. See if you can simply be a witness to the situation and find a better way of addressing whatever the communication snafu is that you and your partner have, or whoever it is, you and your child, etc. All right? Yes?
Do you think acceptance and support universally trumps blame and criticism, or does it matter from person to person?
My personal belief would be that it trumps it. Because my basis of belief is that love and that concept of oneness and wholeness is what the basis of the universe is and what the basis of Earth and our bodies are. So if we could probably do more experiments and find out where is the tipping point of how many people have to be doing the acceptance and support and how many the blame and criticism. But hopefully it would be the acceptance and supports are getting more and more and more. So, all right. So that's some background about emotions. Now or about how our energetics affect our emotions. There are other things that you can also do. So one more volunteer, please. Thank you. All right. Do you have any shoulder issues?
Not on this one.
Okay. Good. There's a great lock. Let's just check and see. Yep, there's a nice unlock. And he's already coming back with the help of chewing some gum. And seriously, by chewing gum, oftentimes that changes the TMJ and how your jaw fits and helps you, gear up and get more balanced. So let's see. Emotions. If we could have those green slips. Do you mind?
No.
Okay. So we're going to use that criticism and blame, please, sent to him once again, briefly. Okay. Would you put your hand on your forehead, please? Okay. Thank you. You can stop your criticism and blame. Send him some acceptance and support, anyway. These points, go ahead and hold them again. They're specifically in line with the eyeballs, halfway between the eyebrows and the hairline. And on many people, there's a slight bulge in the forehead there. that this specifically has to do with dealing with emotions. You can literally do it with one hand, one thumb on each point, or you can just do it the easy way, which is to put your hand on your forehead. And they're points that innately our bodies know about. You know, oh my God, such and such just happened. What am I going to do? How am I going to deal with this? You know, and it can be, you know, we automatically go to K27, we automatically go to our forehead. It's in our bodies that we know that this will help to calm us down a little bit. So we're going to go into that next class, not this class. But just so you know, in the meantime, if you have emotions, issues that are bothering you, stresses that are affecting you, decisions that you need to make, doing what he's doing for a while will really help you. Anywhere from 30 seconds to 10 minutes, depending on how stressful the situation is. Oftentimes people will notice that they kind of take a big sigh and they relax somewhere into it. And that's what they do. These emotional neurovascular points affect the emotions, affect the nerves, affect the blood vessels, vascular. And they help to basically de-stress the whole body and help to calm down that situation so that it does not affect you in such a great manner. Thank you. So as you can see, with a lock and an unlock, yes, question?
Do you need to be touching the specific points, or can you just...
No, you can just do this one-handed jobby. Yep. Or you can also do this way, two-handed. And that's often nice because then you get your eyes closed and your hands are cupping your eyes at the same time that you are holding those points. So there's 3 different ways that you can contact those points. If you wake up at night and you can't sleep well, you can't get back to sleep, you're thinking too much, then you can even, you know, prop your arm across your forehead on the pillow and just hold it. And usually you'll find that you can slip off into sleep and your arm is just going to fall down when you're asleep. What happens with this, though, is with a lock or an unlock, what we're going to be doing once we take this little break is testing each other and learning how to feel with just that light pressure what it is that is a lock and what it is that is an unlock. Okay? And what you are going to be doing then is checking to see what the central vessel does and go back down to go against it to see the unlock. And then you can check any of the things. You can do the 5-finger test on the kind of lower chest. And you can do the hair pulling to check for dehydration. And you can do the beaming an emotion at them, negative or positive, and see how that affects them. And then ask them also, just for your edification, for your learning, to hold, you know, to tap K27 or to hold those points on the forehead and see if that counteracts any of that information that you've just put into their nervous system. Yes, question?
If you're doing extensive testing, is there any wisdom in switching up how you, how the person is arranged, like the muscles that you're using, or?
It's really about comfort. You don't want them to fatigue simply by holding their arm out all the time. So in between tests, I generally have a person put their arms down again, and then when you're ready, you have them put it into whatever position to do whatever test you're going to be doing on them. Okay? And this test is more an accurate test in terms of what's really affecting the central vessel. So you might want to practice that one. Don't just do this one. But practice each of them, see what's comfort. You know, you may find that you're better testing with your right hand versus with your left hand, or vice versa. So it's really about exploring what feels comfortable, seeing how it feels best on you. And remember, in all of this, it's not about proving one person is stronger than the other or making anything like that. This is really about just communication, learning how to feel and sense for that lock and that unlock. Okay? All right. Thank you. We'll take a break, and you can begin practicing.